Hey guys, I just thought about, instead of, talking about my everyday life, boring shit, I talk about, my past a little. And one thing in my past that's really, really important to me, well, it's not really important to me now, but it was, and I don't know, it's got a lot to do with who I am today, is, my brother, Jason. The only thing is that Jason is not a real person. I guess I'll say at the beginning of the story of Jason. When I was 4 years old, I was at an AA meeting with my mom. She used to go to Alcoholics Anonymous, even though she hasn't really drank since before I was born. Anyways, it was at a courthouse, and all the kids had to go upstairs in the attic, and, we had nothing to do, so we decided to play make-believe, And I can still remember the image, this boy David, who was like a brother to me, kind of. He's my mom's best friend's son. He was just I could see him in his black shirt and everything still. And I could see him turned, and he was like, "My name's gonna be Jason." And ever since then, I had this kind of, I don't know, I just felt like something weird happened, and I just latched on to that name. Ever since then, well, not ever since then, but after that, I kind of started using that name, because, of course, I was one of those people that, always thought they were a boy, when, people have referred to me as a girl when I was a kid, it was just really weird and awkward for me. I always did things that a boy would do that a girl wouldn't necessarily do, and people think it was weird, but I never thought it was weird. I thought it was just normal. I didn't realize I was weird until middle school. But Jason came about because I just started playing make-believe that I was Jason. I already said that, but then eventually, a couple years later, I started to make up who he was. I was like, oh, well, Jason isn't just me. He's my alter ego. Like in 3rd grade, for example, me and my best friend Jackie, we were like, oh, let's pretend to be boys today. So she was like, what is your name? And so I remember I was in class and we couldn't talk, the lights were off, and the teacher was giving a lecture. And I wrote down on this dry erase board in this red marker, I wrote down Jason. And she actually made up a last name for him, Jason Travis. And that changed from Jason Travis to Jason William Travis. I have everything mapped out about him. I even know his birthday, which is coming up actually. It's March 21st. Because, at first I'll tell you why I decided his birthday, but at first I just pretended to be this Jason guy, and he was just, he wasn't really like me. I mean, he was kind of like me. I don't know, he's really skinny. I always imagine him to be really skinny, and I'm hella skinny. Well, for a guy, I'm decrepit. I'm so tiny. It's horrible, but I like it. And he was always really skinny and really, really pale. He was a white guy, of course. He was all white. See, I'm half Cuban, but to me, Jason was all white. I don't know why. I'm really proud of my cubanity. Don't you think I'm not? But he was always really white, and he had dark hair. It was also always a little long and really messy. He actually kind of reminds me of Harry Potter, even though I made him up before Harry Potter. But he had the glasses, and they were black rimmed. and he would always have like this little belly, and like kind of like a few little chest hairs, not a lot. And, you know, that's pretty much all. Oh, he was like 5'9". I think I made him. I don't know, it's just the average male height, and I'm about 5'8", so kind of similar to him there. But one day, like, as I was moving out of the house that I was born in, actually, I was born in my living room, I was probably around 8, I was telling my mom about him, and she was like, you know, it's funny, because I never told you this before, but when I was about 20, one night I had sex with my roommate, and I got pregnant, and I had an abortion. I was like, whoa. I had no idea that she had ever almost had another kid, and I was like, damn. If that kid had been born, I probably would have never been here. I mean, I still could have, because my mom could have still met my dad, you know, all that stuff, but there's a very good chance that I wouldn't be here if that kid had been born. But anyway, when she said that, it made me think that Jason was my brother, and like, that was him, you know, he was the baby that was supposed to be born, and he just lived in my head because I was his, you know, all the time I called myself his sister, and, you know, I was like, oh, that's why I think I'm a boy. But, you know, now that I've gotten older, I realize, you know, it's probably not like a ghost is in my head. It's making me feel like a guy. I'm just the guy who, when I was a kid, made up excuses for why I felt that way. I don't know, made up theories. But I have no idea why I just told you all that. I don't know, but I used to pretend to be him all the time. I would sit in the mirror and talk and pretend to be him, and I even used to like write journals about with me and him talking. Yeah, I didn't really get out much as a kid, but but I don't know. Like, I have friends who have theories like, you know, that trans people are sometimes the way they are because when they were in the womb they're twins, like their twin died and it was like the other gender, so they took on that gender, which could potentially make sense because I'm pretty sure, you know, I believe that, you know, it's because of our brains and the neurons in our brains that make us male or female. So that could actually be accurate. And so, you know, before I thought about it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of like what happened to me, except, you know, I don't know if I really believe that I had a brother who died and is coming back to live as me. Plus, I'm nothing like Jason. He's a retard. Not like a retard. Just, he's not cool, that's what I meant. I didn't mean to offend anybody. God damn it, this thing is over already. And I feel like I just said nothing. Well, I guess I'll see you guys later.